Hello and welcome to Happy Foot Sad Foot, your LAFC gateway drug, the only LAFC podcast that exists mainly to get commenters to yell at Vince LaRosa. I'm Travis Helwig.
I'm the aforesaid Vince LaRosa.
I'm Darren Miller. Welcome to our preview episode of LAFC's MLS match versus Austin FC on Saturday, March 15th at 12:45 p.m. at BMO Stadium. You can watch it on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV Plus, Fox, and Fox Deportes. And our live post-game call-in show will start 10 minutes after the final whistle at youtube.com/@HappyFootSadFoot.
Later in the show, we'll talk to Mike and Steph, hosts of the Austin FC podcast, SWOONTOWER Soccer. And of course, we'll talk all the storylines and make some bets. But first, God, look at what you monsters have done. We're here to mandate banter just a few days after we did a 2-hour-long live stream about nothing. It's time for the banter you mandate, listener-mandated banter.
What did I miss? Because I'm not going to go back and listen to people.
I don't know why anyone would.
It was literally us yelling about whether or not it is worth the convenience of flying out of a small airport if you have to do a layover. And it was a conversation about layovers.
Old video game systems came up a lot.
Yes, we talked about old
311 came up a lot.
Not a fan. Okay, just go down the list. I'll tick them off. Okay, yes on the airports in the layover. Fine with that.
You're wrong, but okay. The
shitty airports are shitty airports.
Into it. We're falling into this well.
What color is your energy, Vince? That's what I'm curious. Because amber is the color of my energy.
I hate you so much. That's a no. That's a hard no. What was the one in between 311? Don't ever. Can we just never talk about 311 again? Sublime also. I don't know if have I brought this up on
definitely.
this. I brought it up
Sublime?
definitely.
Yeah, I think you have.
Yeah, on a lot of podcasts, a lot of LAFC podcasts I've talked about, and a lot of people that like LAFC. I know you like Sublime. But I'm just going to put it out here. When I was 16 and living in Orange County, which is very popular for them Sublime people, specifically them Sublime bros, I had a lot of dudes that were really mean to me at parties that would then later be like, hey man, you wear like kind of cool pants and I actually kind of like your nail polish. But they would be very rude to me in public and they really love to put Sublime on at a party. So you can now kind of understand why I fucking hate Sublime. Also, there's much better reggae that exists in the world that you don't need to get it from those guys. Specifically those guys.
Which should be clear to anyone who sees
it's not
1 second of them and listens to 3 seconds of them.
No. Well, okay, Darren, I will say this. They then go, well, yeah, I also do love Bob Marley. And I would say, fine, but there's more. There's other people. There's Desmond Decker. There's just countless others. Toots and the Maytals, there's countless others. We do not need Sublime in our lives. The fact that they are now like on a victory tour, like hey, we're back, is just with the original singer's son, is to me just bananas.
Yeah, it's a little crazy.
I have no opinion on Sublime. Got nothing to add. I think of Dave Mirra BMX bike on N64 when I think it's
totally
because one of their I think it was maybe Wrong Way.
Then, now we're back into the other thing. The vintage video games fan. Mm-hmm. Yes. I remember very much soccer tournaments. We would actually bring the console
order. You
know what's super underrated, or maybe I'm wrong here by saying
I just mean like
underrated.
Order over time, not necessarily your favorite. Well, tell me your favorite too.
Well, you know it was actually pretty cool, and I think that like I'm gonna say like this was pretty cool, and everyone's gonna go like everyone knows that, Vince. Sega Dreamcast was actually
we talked
cool.
about it. Dreamcast was great.
Okay.
I had that game where you could talk to the fish and it talked back to you. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that game? It had a microphone.
I had tennis, and tennis was a lot of fun. Like the original tennis game that was a lot of fun on Sega Dreamcast.
Also, on that note, I should say my son's really into Sonic, and I think Sonic is something that has held up so well for me. Like it's still awesome to me. And Mario and that whole world and all the other sort of what are they called? Like console, I forget what they're called. Like platformer. Yeah. Mm-hmm. All those things have kind of faded over time for me, but like we got a new Sonic game for PS5 and it's awesome. It's the coolest game ever.
Yeah. Mario holds up, Pokemon holds up, Sonic holds up. Just want to make sure we get that out there. I also want to say
not
one
in that
thing
order, but yeah.
Yeah, we because we do have to move sort of quickly because we have an interview coming in. We've been growing a lot this season already. Like the numbers are going up, and like we're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers on YouTube by May. we're getting close. We're at 9:30, which is great. I just want to thank everybody for like how supportive they've been. People have been really great this season, and I feel like we haven't said thank you in a long time, just for people like listening and telling their friends to listen and hanging out with us after the show. So I just wanted to say thank you at the top of the episode as opposed to the end.
And I'm sorry if
It's a good idea.
If you do like Sublime, like I still like you, but
we lost so much
But he doesn't
goodwill
love
with
you.
that Sublime talk.
you'd be surprised.
All right, that's enough banter. Let's start the show.
Okay. Fine, Dad. All right. Well, as the more
I
casually
prefer
upset.
Daddy.
Oh, I'm not going to do that, though.
Okay. Well, then
okay.
I won't start the show
It's on you.
until you call me Daddy.
No, that might be copyrighted.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as the more casually obsessed LAFC fan of the hosts here, I love LAFC and I'd never miss a match. But look, when they're putting 2 games in a week and stringing together a few Saturday midday matches, and you've got kids that are young enough to actually want to be with you, but not old enough to really give a shit about soccer in a real way, there comes a point when retreating to the garage in a sports jersey to watch a made-up game feels a little silly. And then sometimes they lose that game and you're genuinely upset, and then you saunter back into the house and your kids are like, what was that? No service for Giroud again? XG was a joke? Adjustments came too late? Dolo out. And you say, what? And they say, I said, what were you doing? And you think, what was I doing? And you're not going to go from there into a deep dive on all the advanced stats, roster moves, rumors, conspiracy theories, matchups, and off-the-field drama that you don't get from just watching the match. But you're definitely not going to want to miss out on that stuff either. So luckily, your friends Travis, the human LAFC crazy wall, and Vince, the human LAFC sane human, catch you up every week on the most important storylines that live beneath the surface of every match so we can all enjoy them so much more in a segment we call Storylines.
Is it playing for you guys? It's not playing for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Was Storylines playing? I couldn't hear it.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, weird. Okay.
With Travis just being like, hello, in the background a little bit.
Remix.
I'm so glad we have an interview in 15 minutes. Darren, Vince, Dins, I come to you just 2 days following the greatest victory in LAFC history, a 2-0 loss to the Columbus Crew in Columbus. and
Is that what a Pyrrhic victory is? I don't know what it is. No,
I
don't
don't
explain
know
it.
either.
I don't think
Yeah,
I've
we
ever
don't
heard that
need
word
to
in my
know.
life.
Pyrrhic
The-
victory? Come on.
Listen, we just walked away from what we can all agree was a feel-good night of MLS soccer.
At the very end.
And I ask you the most important storyline of the week, and maybe the season. Is Under the greatest LAFC player of all time? In just 10 minutes on the pitch, we watched a Turkish superstar look like a man amongst boys. He was watching the field in ways that our players normally don't. They normally take the ball and they sprint really fast. He seemed to always be present. Anytime you saw him, he was making the right decision. And the one goal we had that game was a completely heads-up play from, how do you say it, Sengus? Cengiz Under. It's not, I looked on the pronunciation page, it's not there yet. Cengiz Under ran, I want to say, 100 meters, stole a ball. No, it was at least 2,000 meters he ran, stole the ball,
It's a solid mile.
and found Denny Bwanga for an easy tap in. And that's something we would love to see our players do more often, is find the pass for an easy goal. So I asked the two of you, do you think Under is officially the greatest LAFC player of all time?
I think we should put a statue up.
I'm actually disappointed in myself because I thought I knew you well enough, Travis, that I thought this was going to you just asking, is LAFC back? Because that's just...
It's always the first storyline.
That's just
Are
the
we
way
back?
to go.
Are we over? Are
Yeah.
we back?
Are we in between? Look, he's a he's not a world-class player. He was on the verge of being a world-class player. At one point, as I've told you guys in previous episodes, he had that moniker of like the possible next Messi or the Turkish Messi. You know, you get a lot of like different nationalities plus Messi. which weighs on guys. And he's always been pretty good anywhere he's gone, except for now at Fenerbahce. He was playing at a place where Jose Mourinho just had no use for him, had no use for that type of player, which is interesting because I bet you Jose Mourinho would really like our team without Cengiz Jünger in it. Like the way that they play, the way they kind of sit deep and they hit on the counter and they're pragmatic.
Could we fire Dolo and get him?
You know what's funny is people will probably say that and you'd be like, careful what you wish for. But Under is a creative player. As we've seen, he's very good with the ball at his feet. He's not just a dribbler. He can pass. He can shoot. We'll see that, I'm sure, at points this year where he's a finisher. Yeah, man. I mean, that play was cool because he had to sprint, I'm going to say 20 yards to win the ball. And then he won the ball and then carried it another, let's say, 50 to 60 yards and played a perfect pass. And not just a perfect pass, not just to like see Bouanga, but like the weight of that pass.
I was going to say, yeah.
Where Bouanga just literally was like, oh, thank you. I don't even have to take a touch. This is so nice. So
you could tell he was ready for much worse.
Yeah. You know what the best part is? Bouanga was like, this is so nice. Also, never going to come the other way. I will not reciprocate.
Oh, you get it. You give me the ball. You already understand.
The celebration was like, I can't believe you did that. I'll never do that.
Want to point out another game with no flip. I think we're entering a no flip zone.
I wonder if they've told him, please don't do that anymore.
Well, my current theory, because obviously I'm always thinking about this.
Yeah.
My current theory is that he has some kind of hand injury. I don't know what the details are on that because he has a bandage on it on all the games. And I think not that you use your hand in a flip, but it's what you go to in your mind as your failsafe. Like in case something goes wrong, you're going to need it. So I would feel less sure of myself doing that.
I would love to ask
when I dream
is...
about flipping, which is constantly, I know that I want to make sure my hands are free.
I know we need to move fast, but I would like to ask in one press conference, is the hand injury a flip gone wrong? And in that term, and in that way, so that the French guy has to be like, how do I flip gone wrong?
If you're a journalist or a podcaster or someone who's in a press conference room with Steve Cherundolo or Denny Bouanga, please ask that question. You don't have to credit us, but like the people need to know. It used to be after every goal, even on turf. And now you've gotten 3 in a week and you haven't flipped. It's an interesting change.
Also, I think Vince is right. There is no way in the French language to describe a flip that isn't perfect.
And this is Darren's personality, so we need to know because this is really going to affect him going forward.
Do you think we'll see more minutes from Under this weekend? When do you think he'll start starting for the team?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he started this weekend. David Martinez put in some hard minutes over this past week. He definitely I mean, look, he's 19 years old. His fitness level is obviously much better than the 3 of ours, but is it like expert level with like everything on the line and all the weight on your shoulders level of going 90 minutes every time? Probably not. So why not maybe see what Under can bring from a starting spot? I don't think he needs to know too much about the system. He already seems to understand kind of the way LAFC plays. So I would say if he doesn't start, we'll see at least more minutes from him than he got, which I think he got around 30. He came in right after the 60th minute, I think. So
I think it was a little later than that. I think he came in later than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we didn't see that much of him.
So a half, or maybe he starts and just Martinez gets, that he comes out right at 60 and that's the plan. 60, no matter what, you're out. Don't care if you're on a hat trick, and then Martinez comes in.
Now, Under, as we talked about on the post game, was probably the only positive from that game besides the fact that we moved on.
Hugo.
And what?
Hugo.
Oh, Hugo as well. Excuse me. But I do want to ask the storyline that I think is on everyone's mind. Are we back?
Yes.
Which LAFC are we getting this weekend, right? We saw glimpses of an LAFC team against Columbus at home that seemed unstoppable. We were on every player. We were making every pass. Our defense looked impenetrable. Then we go up to Seattle and we get absolutely whomped 5-2. Marlon breaks his fucking leg or whatever on the turf. We're now back to our 3rd string center back. I have seen Chanot in practice in photos. I don't know if he's fully back, but this is a team that seems to be competent, albeit not always exciting at home. and potentially a disaster went away from home. This is obviously a home match, but I'm curious if you think two big losses in a week, even though we won against Columbus, 5-2 against Seattle, which was genuinely embarrassing, 2-1 in what was a game that was, I'm sure they walked away feeling fine about that game, even though it was not fun to watch. It was probably fine as a player to be a part of. I'm curious where you think the players' mentality is and which team we're going to get this weekend.
I want to reiterate what I said on the post game was this was the exact same tactics from both teams and the performance that the coaches were at least intending in both games. But in LAFC's home game, they were incredible. Like almost zero mistakes. The intensity level was at a certain level. And some parts of intensity come with like when things are going right, it just rolls downhill. And you continue to run faster and you can get a little bit closer to your marker and you can run a little bit faster because things are so going well. Like it just things stack up and you keep going. Whereas when they went to Columbus, it was Columbus that started stacking the things and LAFC were unable to do certain things, but it wasn't a different game plan. They just weren't executing quite the same. However, they did find their feet at moments. They did have some spells of good play. And I think Steve will say, like, I look at you guys and say, I'm proud of you for being able to weather it because there are teams that have gone to Columbus and have crumbled against a very good Columbus team. And ultimately, they got the job done. But is LAFC back? Is dependent on the day, I suppose. But the tactics and the things that they know that they can do, that Columbus performance is absolutely within reach week in and week out. And it was not like they went into Columbus and being like, we're going to play a different way. And that's why we played poorly. I just want to really reiterate that to people.
I think that that's fair. I do think that there is a mentality difference, though, between how the team played in Seattle.
I think they kind of threw the Seattle match like they didn't plan to, but I think when the players see that lineup come out, they're like, oh, okay. And ideally, everyone involved would say, no, we want to all still give 100% and we want to try to win this game. But like people are out there without a safety net. People are out there without the support they're used to getting on the field. They're out there in less experienced positions, playing an amount of minutes they're less experienced playing. So it doesn't feel like a situation that everyone's like worried could come up again, really. So I think there's like clear and justified disappointment with how people ended up performing. But in the end, it's like, well, we were kind of throwing it away. So that's what happens sometimes. And if I was a player on that team, I'd be like, well, we'll be fine.
I have a question. Maybe this is good for Vince. Why is playing away so much harder for teams? Right? Like, why is it so much harder than playing at home? Is it just the logistics and the travel and the comfort, or is it the fit? Like, go ahead.
It is a big aspect of it. I mean, you watch when people say like it doesn't affect Manchester United or it doesn't affect blah blah blah. It's like Manchester United's longest trip is basically our trip to Portland. Like they don't do these things, you know what I mean? And so it is a big part of it, but it's something that all those players.
It honestly might be smaller than our trip to Portland.
It might be smaller, like, but it's something that those players understand. But to your point, Travis, was like, this is a new team. A lot of these players have not made these trips. So they're actually figuring it out, and then they're young on top of it. So when you talk about mentality, which I do think was important in that Seattle game, is like Darren said, a lot of guys maybe were like, okay, we traveled farther than I've ever traveled to play a game. And also, okay, I'm in here with guys that aren't the starters. Like, the guys just didn't seize the opportunity. And also, it was a different style of play, different formation, different setup than what they were trying to do against Columbus. But home games are home versus away. I think it's tough for every team in MLS, and I think they're truly elite teams, which is 4 to 5 teams a year. 5 is probably a lot. Probably 3 teams a year figure it out to a decent level, whereas the rest of them kind of just say like, win our games at home, maybe we'll get a draw on the road.
So that's where we stand as a team going into this weekend. I'm curious what you guys think about the final storyline of the week, which is this. What exactly is going on with Austin? When Austin joined the league just a year or two after we did, it really felt like they were building a quality organization that would have sustained success as a club. But over the last couple years, it really has seemed like That's not true. They seem to be terrible at all times. This year, they've lost to Colorado and Portland, but they beat SKC. They have 3 points on the season in 3 games played. They've scored 2 total goals this season. It really seemed like they might be a franchise who could be a rival to us. And now I don't think about Austin in the slightest. So I'm wondering, Vince, who is Austin this year, and why has the club as a whole taken such a downturn over the last couple of years?
Well, if you remember, their first year wasn't exactly like an amazing year, right? It was the year that we won the cup, right? That they dominated us in Austin. We were able to kind of nip them at the end and get the top seed, which very much behooved LAFC throughout the playoffs when they came here in that conference, Western Conference final. It was very nice to play at home as opposed to going to Austin. But a lot of that team is gone. They slowly but surely dismantled that. And that's what is a major change this season. I think a lot of us are used to thinking of Austin as like Sebastian Driussi, Diego Fagundes, and Jossie Zardes. That was like their front 3 when they were humming, when they were a team that we actually kind of feared as they were coming into that Western Conference Finals. But I think there's a couple things. One is they probably, and this can happen over the course of a season, even though it is a long extended period, ball can bounce your way. Ball sometimes go in net when it shouldn't. Their numbers were not exactly as good as they probably were. And honestly, LAFC showed them in the Western Conference Final legitimately and showed everyone else like they were at a level above. Austin was a good team, probably better, probably deserved to be in the playoffs, probably deserved to be reaching the Western Conference Final, but there was a vast gap between the level of LAFC and them. And then since then, they've tried to tweak around the edges and they figured out it's not working for us. So since their sporting directors changed, their coaches changed, that front 3 that I told you about, completely gone to the point where they made, so in the summer of last year, they made their biggest buy, which was Bakari, $7 million. Since then, they bought another guy, Brandon Vasquez, for $10 million. So now that's their biggest buy. Well, right after they did that, they bought another guy for $12 million, which is Uzuni. I can't say his name right, but he came from Granada. He came from Spain's 2nd division. So they've reshaped that entire front line with their most expensive buys of all time. And we don't know exactly what to expect from them. I think they're all quality players. Do they fit together properly? Does the new coach, Nico Estevez, does he have it figured out? Is Ilie Sanchez the right piece to drop into the mix? And then beyond that, they still haven't, yeah, I miss Ilie. They still haven't done much about their defense, which, look, they definitely had a problem scoring goals last season, but they were also very leaky and would give up some goals that you would not imagine a professional team would, despite having an all-star level quality goalkeeper in Brad Stuver. So I think that they've made a lot of changes that are nice, but as we've seen in this league, it doesn't click right away all the time, and you won't know right away if those were the right changes.
Darren, we just touched on it. Ilie Sanchez, our captain, on the Mount Rushmore for, I think, all of us of LAFC players, scored the winning penalty kick when we won the championship, always making the smart choice. Will be returning to BMO Stadium this weekend. I want you to tell me, Darren, what does Ilie Sanchez mean to you? And if you could give him a pitch to like throw the game, I think that would be helpful.
Okay. Ilie is everything. I think the character of this team and the image that both the fans and organization wanted to project for what this team is actually about beneath it all and beyond the soccer was exemplified by Ilie Sanchez, and it allowed the team to walk the walk in the first however many years as soon as he got there. Or I don't have a great memory of what that was like before him, but he was the heart and soul of the team. The reason why the team had soul. And he was constantly an unsung hero. He was constantly making the smart choices. I mean, it's funny because it's literally what he did. He was, pulling the strings behind the scenes all the time for no thanks. And sometimes was not the best player of all time, sure, but always gave his all in situations where, like, you wouldn't necessarily say that about every single player that came through. He's the kind of guy you miss when he's gone. And he's the kind of guy
to remind you, follows us on Instagram.
Yeah,
that's a big
he's
deal.
The kind of guy who will follow a show like this on Instagram. And the kind of guy who might listen when I say, Ilie, maybe you could find it in your heart that I just talked about being so big to reach deep down into the depths of your deep relationship with all these fans at BMO and perform for them one more time and make the smartest choice, perhaps the long-term choice for what's like more right in the world on Saturday for not your fans, not your team, but everyone. You know, your relationship with Austin is budding, sure, but with us is still longer and stronger, growing and showing, one might say. So I just think that the more powerful choice and smarter choice for this particular game is to, you know, like I said, your play is not going to go particularly noticed anyway. I don't think anyone's going to fault you for it because, like, you're the unsung hero, right? So just, you know, do what you got to do behind the scenes and
tap a little
we'll
ball
hang out
in
after.
your own net. Tap a little ball in your own net. No one's got to know. It's between us.
Lower right corner.
Just take a play off on a set piece. No big deal.
Final question. Darren Vince, ever been to Austin?
Yeah. Been to Austin Stadium multiple
Yeah,
times.
we've been to
actually.
Austin.
Darren's bachelor party was in Austin. We've talked about it already. That's the storylines for this week's match. When we come back, we're talking to the folks at SWOONTOWER Soccer. And we're back. Now we're here with the good folks from SWOONTOWER Soccer. Please welcome Steph and Mike. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we're super stoked.
Look, you know us. We hate most MLS soccer media. We are big fans of these people. So if you're a listener of ours and you want to hear good, fun, quality MLS content, make sure you go follow them. And where can they do that?
So you can find us wherever you get your podcasts at Moontower Soccer or at Moontower Soccer.
.bsky.social, baby.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
Yeah, that's the best part about Blue Sky is how easy it is to tell people where to find you.
So we are kind of partnered with Moontower Soccer, which is the Austin FC Tactics podcast. And we come on and bust through their feed every week this season. Used to be every other week, but we're
Moving
doing
up.
more.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And we do kind of the arts and culture side of following Austin FC, right? Like, what are the fits looking like? Who might be best friends on the field? Did you see that really cute moment with an adoptable dog in Ilie Sanchez? You know, things like that.
Oh, man.
You, breaking our hearts so early into the interview here.
You said the trigger word.
So let's get into it, right? I think that's what every LAFC fan is worried about, the homecoming of Ilie Sanchez, our sweet baby boy, our prince, who decided to move to another castle, and that castle is Austin, Texas. And I think we want to know, one, are you guys taking care of him? And two, how has he been received by the fans? Yeah, give us your first impression of Ilie Sanchez.
He's the best.
Yeah.
We want to wrap him up in a soft blanket and hold him gently and protect him from the world.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Don't worry. We are taking very, very good care of him. He came into the team and immediately was made captain because he just is the most somehow responsible and exciting person to like exist. He's like everyone's dad, but also everyone's sweet angel son. And
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I love him.
He's growing out his hair. He's got a very Jesus look right now, very much to the point that, like, when you look back and you see one set of footprints, it's because Ilie was carrying you. You know, like he's just got that to him right now.
And
like,
is he still making the smart choice while he's there?
Oh, please. He's always making the smart
Does
choice.
he talk about us? Has he said anything about us? Has he mentioned us?
He
at
does
all? Is
miss
there
you.
any sort
Darren
of,
specifically.
Okay.
He
Thank
gave
you.
a big shout out at the open practice. He was like, this next training drill goes out to my boy Darren.
Oh my God. That's awesome.
So yeah.
This feels
I
like
will
I'm
say-
like rehoming a dog. I'm like genuinely like,
Yeah,
do you,
can we just
Do
you
talk
have
about
water?
for like a
Okay.
half an hour?
So I
What's
don't know.
he eating?
Yeah,
Do you
I don't
know
know
crate
if y'all knew
training?
this. Ilie was discovered by Rodolfo Borrell, our current sporting director at Barcelona. And so
Oh,
it's
did not
like
know
a
that.
full circle moment for him to get to sign Ilie to Austin.
cool.
And so
Got
like
it.
they've both talked about how special that is as like a reunion moment.
So you're saying we were the foster and you guys are the forever.
Yeah, wait a second.
Yeah, we're his forever home.
No.
Oh my God.
No. A real
This is taking
Foster
a
fail.
turn.
So I would assume everyone listening to this podcast has not watched a single moment of Austin FC. Tell us about your team this season, at least. Tell us what's going on with your team. How are you guys feeling about the team? Where's the turnover? Are you doing well? Give us a summary and do it in one sentence.
Yeah, they're the best team in the world.
Oh. Shit, I'm scared now.
We had a really high turnover in this offseason and signed a lot of really exciting players. And that excitement is coming through on the pitch and for the fans, even if it hasn't fully connected into making goals yet. Look at that compound sentence whatsoever.
That was actually,
you even did it in
boil
one
down to
sentence.
I
That's
sure
crazy.
did.
Wow.
I taught high school English for 13
Don't take
years. I
Travis
know my
seriously.
sentences.
Also, she loves a short form improv game. Like you
Oh my
really.
God.
set her up
Oh,
there.
we're doing comedy
Uh-oh.
sports, huh? Yeah. Okay, what are some comedy sports games we could play, Darren?
Well,
Okay,
you
for
guys
the
are in
next
the same
20
room.
minutes, you can't
can
use
you guys,
the letter E.
Yeah. You guys play hands through?
We talked about it just on. If you want to hear a longer form conversation, we're on their feed as well. So head over to SWOONTOWER Soccer if you want to listen to that. But we're in sort of a weird place for our team as well. And I'm curious, like, how do your fans or even just you guys, how do you view LAFC and the LAFC fan base? And you can be honest, right? Like from an outsider's perspective, what do you think about our club? And what do you think about our club this year specifically? Because I always think it's interesting just to like hear that.
Handsome.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Rank
that
'em.
LAFC is pretty handsome. Anyone who sees a picture of my husband knows I love someone who is pretty French looking. So
Oui, oui.
LAFC is a good team to watch. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I love Giroud, however he's performing or not. I love Hugo. I love Denny Bouanga.
And Hugo knows how to use his hands. He's got those big mitts,
He's so gentle though.
And scared looking.
I got him to sign my jersey. I was like a trader at our home game last year, and he just like is so gentle and sweet and kind and looks so afraid of crowds, and I love him so much. Because same. So on the field though, like I feel like LAFC is intimidating in the way that they just kind of always seem to know how to put the ball in the net, which is the goal. Fans,
Literally.
if I had to sum up in a short clip, it would be a little overwhelming and very loud in like a good and bad way.
That's correct. Yeah.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
So we came to the 2022 Western Conference Final when
that was
Austin
a fun
played
one for you
LAFC.
guys.
Oh.
And for folks who maybe don't remember that scoreline, good. For those of us who were there, bad. For us, and the worst part, I think, for us was the march into the stadium had been set up in a way that we were marched past where the LAFC supporters groups have all of their tailgates. And so we're trying to have a good time. We're playing Selena songs and we're singing all our songs. And then all of a sudden, like a decidedly different vibe from the LAFC supporters, which, to be fair, we shouldn't have been marched past where they go. That was poor planning, but that's what happened. And it kind of set the tone, I think, for a like, oh, this is a club that like the fan base is very passionate about what happens around their stadium, right? And I think that inspires your players to like do more for their team than maybe they would if that wasn't the expectation.
I think that's correct. And it is very dumb that they marched you guys across. I will say overwhelming. I think people are kind, but there is a self-seriousness with some of the fans that we don't share in. But I'm happy that they're there because it makes the games more fun. And you're right. It helps the team a lot, but you never want to be scared at a game.
Oh, I mean, to be fair, like I am scared like when someone walks into a room unannounced. So
Yes.
we're
Also-
like, let me set a baseline.
And
here.
I grew up in Boston. The idea
Hey, me
of
too.
like
Oh
not
no,
being
this is about
scared.
to turn. Oh.
The idea of not being
let's
scared
talk
at a
about
sporting
Boston.
event, like, come on, like,
Yeah,
what is
Yeah.
this?
Darren, do it.
I
Do
knew
what
we
I know
got
you want
each
to
other.
do.
You know, I'm not really from Boston. It's just easier
Hey.
to say it.
Where in Boston did you grow up?
Yeah,
You guys,
so-
not you guys. What's up?
So I grew up in Central Mass and then moved to Somerville and then lived in Revere for like 3
Awesome.
years.
Love it.
So like not
Awesome.
real Boston, right?
No, it's the Boston area.
Yeah.
I grew up in Brookline, like right by Alston.
Okay. That tracks. I see the glasses.
You
I
guys
see
talk
what's
about
going on
grocery
here now.
stores or anything anyone else doesn't care
Oh
about?
yeah, did you go to?
Yeah, we want to
Market
talk
basket?
about the model a little bit.
Agawam, you guys go to
Yeah.
Agawam to go to your amusement park?
Six Flags.
You want to talk about
Six
some Market Basket, some Demoulas,
Oh yeah,
depending on how old you are.
Star Market. Did you have Star
Oh
Market?
yeah,
Star
Star
Market.
Market kid.
Star Market.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hate
I lived
this
in
so
Southern
much.
Massachusetts, not Boston.
You lived in Southern Massachusetts? Where?
Yeah. But I like basically lived in Brighton, so
Oh man, love Brighton. This is great.
yeah, I don't. No good memories there.
No. Oh, okay.
This is my worst nightmare, being outnumbered
so
by
sorry.
Bostonians.
I
love this.
don't call myself a Bostonian, to be fair.
Okay, good. Yeah, Amherst I love. Amherst is a
Amherst-
wonderful place.
Amherst is great. There's no H in that, but Amherst is great.
Is there no H in it?
Yeah,
There is an H in the
There's
in
an
the
H in the
spelling.
word.
Oh yeah, and it's what's the other one?
Worcester.
Worcester, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's Worcestershire sauce. It's spelled the same, right?
Almost.
Yeah,
Okay,
almost.
We can. Sorry.
Darren and I have a long-running bit on the show where anytime he brings up Boston, I yell at him for 15 minutes. So,
Yeah, so
you've
which one's
tapped
gonna
into
do it
Oh,
some.
more?
we're doing good on time then.
Yeah, we got plenty.
Yeah,
Let them know.
I'm holding back a lot right now.
I
Take
can
it
hop
offline.
off. Do you want me to hop off?
Oh yeah, can you?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
want to
can
know
you?
then, how does a guy who grew up in Massachusetts become an LAFC fan? This is your show, but like, fuck it, I'm doing this now.
Have you ever watched the Revolution play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Diego Fagundes, baby? Are you
You ever
kidding
been to a
me?
Revolution game?
Yeah, that
That's
is fair.
so sad.
Yeah.
The good people in the fort, but man, that's the
Yeah.
only place people are.
Yeah, I can. A real quick version is I was into it back then and kind of fell off watching MLS for a while and didn't find good enough inspiration to follow a team until LAFC
Chivas USA.
announced that they were starting. No. And I was like, maybe I had just moved to LA, so I was like, this is great.
That's perfect.
And the Galaxy were kind of reminded me of like the Revolution. It was like, this just feels really lame, and I don't
That
like
Stevie
it.
Nickel, those Stevie Nickel coach teams didn't do it for you, Darren. They didn't make you a lifer.
No,
Ask me another question about soccer.
sorry. I'm gonna cut all
Thank
this,
you
don't
for
worry.
watching me descend. I was like, when
Yeah,
can I
got
get a
you.
Klonopin?
I got you, Travis.
Travis, you have to forcibly stop me.
Great at interrupting.
Well, I do want to know. We've never been to Austin Stadium. I don't. Travis, you haven't, have you?
No.
What's the vibe like?
Darren
going
had his
to it?
bachelor
Like,
party in Austin, though. We've been to
I
Austin.
did. That's
Of
true.
course he did.
We
Yeah.
partied in Austin.
You got
Yeah,
two
that's
choices. If you're in LA, you
I'm
can
sorry
go
about
to
that. I feel
Austin
like-
or Nashville.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Maybe
feel like.
Vegas if you're a freak.
And I'm a
Well,
freak, baby.
Well,
I'm a freak.
The vibes are great, honestly. Like the stadium is small enough that it doesn't feel like too imposing, and also for away fans, we're not. I mean, we were up in Toronto last summer. And like in the sky, like literally, like
Oh,
with
yeah.
They
Ilie
suspend you.
Sanchez in the sky.
Yeah, they suspend you from the roof in
And
Toronto if
so-
you've never been there.
Like Gabby
They're,
Windy
like-
on the Traders. Yeah.
Yeah. We're obsessed.
Oh,
with
God.
Toronto.
now
Yeah, we'll
it's your
get to
guys'
that
turn
later.
To talk about the traders for 20
Shoot.
minutes.
Yeah.
I would
It's
gladly
really hard
talk
for me
about the
right now.
Traders. For
Travis's
Yeah, we're doing
Boston
some
is the
trader
traders.
her wife is on my wife's new season of my wife's show. Robbie, who is
I'm a big Robbie Hoffman fan.
She's the funniest stand-up worker.
She's the
We
best.
can talk after.
Yeah. Okay.
We could all do a Robbie Hoffman aside.
You don't know Robbie Hoffman. We should get her on the show. She would not like it.
Call her now.
Which makes me like her more.
But yeah, so like you're still close enough in the away fan section that it feels like you're part of the action. The stadium atmosphere is incredible. Our supporters do an amazing job. We have a lot of English and Spanish language in our songs. We've got the opposite end of the stadium has their own kind of supporters vibe. There are a couple pirates over there. You never know what you're going to find. You might see a Yeti. You might see...
There's a guy who dresses there was a guy who dressed like a luchador and got so popular on social media that the club created a luchador as
That's an imposter.
Yeah. So we're trying to get
some capitalist bullshit.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
But he's come full circle into being like almost a gritty level,
Cool.
Renaissance here.
Yeah.
You were a front office creation, but now we've imposed our will and we like it.
It's for throwing popcorn across the visitors tunnel last match, and he was trying to catch them
That's
in his
funny.
mouth. It's overall a very good vibe at the stadium.
Yeah.
I think we're lucky to have really passionate fans for a new fan base, right? I think you see a lot of people that want to cosplay as like soccer fans or whatever, but then your team sucks and they disappear.
Mhm.
We've been sucking from the beginning and they're still here.
Hey, we thought you were good for a year. It just wasn't true.
We did too.
Yeah. Faked y'all out.
Gotcha.
Man, we were so talking about that Western Conference final. We were so scared going into that game because you guys had fucking thumped us earlier in the season, and it was our only loss in so long. And I just remember it being like, well, it's the top two teams. They really killed us. Mm-hmm. And I remember going into that game so scared, and it was such like a release when we were able to beat you, which is also probably what added to the tension of marching you guys in front of a bunch of drunk people. I guess if a player or if someone listening wants to watch the game, of course they want to watch the game. Why else? What a stupid way to start a question, Travis.
Travis, you're blowing it right now.
Okay, so the concept of a podcast is...
Travis, you're blowing
everyone's
it in
watching,
front of our
dog.
new
Everyone's
friends.
watching.
Okay,
together.
Everything is computer.
Hang on, let me just turn Travis off and on real quick.
So what I want to ask is, who are the players that they should be scared of?
Nailed it.
Who's going to score on us? Who are the ones you're excited to watch? Who should we be terrified
Who good
of?
soccer?
Yeah,
Who good soccer now, please?
We are so excited to see what Mirto Uzuni does this weekend because he subbed on 2 weeks ago. He started last week, and he is
he's real.
When he came, and he's said this in several interviews now. People have asked him what his goals are or whatever, and he said, "I am here to score goals and break records."
And he's
That's
good. He's so intense. My job is to score goals, and scoring goals makes the fans happy, and so making the fans happy is my job.
Yeah,
he sounds like me asking a question.
Yeah, he is super intense. We were watching him on Saturday, and if y'all switch over the channel to SWOONTOWER, you might have heard us talk about this. Tactics are fake and made up, but no one understands that more than Mirto Uzuni, who was in every position on the field at one point or another.
Yeah, anywhere he needed to be to get himself involved in the game, he was there, which,
that's the opposite of Olivier Giroud, who plays no position.
Yes.
Doesn't exist when he's out there. A black hole of a man.
Yeah.
Sorry, keep going.
No, that's, I think, accurate, right? We don't know what it's going to look like yet.
But he's going to be exciting.
Yes. He's definitely someone to watch. Last match was his first start with the team. How he works with our front line, with our other DP striker, Brandon Vasquez, who
very handsome.
Incredible that
Very
we've gotten
handsome.
this far without talking about Mexican-American Superman, but here we are. We're super excited to see if they can get on the same page together, and then what that actually looks like from a Vince interest point of view is probably who feeds them to be able to score goals.
How's Vasquez been so far this year?
We have in our history at Austin FC had the following strikers: Maxi Urruti, Jossie Zardes, Danny Houston, and we played Manny Perez at striker once, who is now a USL right back.
Yikes.
So like, I want y'all to understand that like the bar is on the floor for us, right? Like Brandon Vasquez as a striker, he runs like a striker. He gets into positions where a striker should be at. He like is able to lay the ball off and like participate in soccer activities. And he's like not using a walker to get down the field like Jossie was last year. Like he's really,
we love him so much. The daddiest dad.
And
yeah,
I mean, you know, and so like, I think we're at a point where it's just a matter of time before he starts scoring goals, even accidentally, because he's doing all the other striker things right.
Who's hotter, Giroud or Denny Bouanga?
Giroud.
Denny Bouanga.
Giroud. Absolutely.
Wow.
This is flip. This is flip from what we found that men tend to find Giroud more attractive and women tend to find Denny Bouanga more attractive. So this is an interesting flip for us.
So I was very team Giroud until I saw him with a baseball hat, and then he looked like
we don't talk about that picture.
Like
he dresses like a Euro man for sure.
He looks like the crappiest version of a New York sports fan with a baseball cap on, and I'm like, I've seen this.
Just don't look at how tight his jeans are. It's really rough to look at those jeans.
They're very ripped.
Yeah, there's a lot on the jeans.
What a fray! Yeah. What's like the status of the team? What kind of lineup are we going to see? LAFC has played about 1,000 matches so far this season. It's been 2 weeks. Like, where is the team at right now?
Yeah, so Austin's played 3 matches because we aren't in special cups or good.
We're in the special, the gifted and talented program.
Yeah. We get it. You're a high performer as well.
Wait for that anxiety to hit when you turn 30. Let's go.
Our whole team's on SSRIs. Yeah.
SSRIFC is a good.
We got merch, baby.
Right?
But
MLS Lexapro. I was trying to do Next Pro, but with like
MLS.
It almost works.
MLS
Pro.
MLS Lexapro. Yeah. Okay, we're there.
Yeah, it's just
Keep going.
MLS Pro. Yeah.
MLS. Oh, there we go. Fuck. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Great.
It was there. You were right.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself, Travis.
Oh my God.
I just need Ilya to tell it to me.
So Austin this season, all preseason, we played this really cool 4-3-3 that was super creative and like really fun and attacking and neat to watch. And then as soon as the season started, we did that for one game and we won. And then the next game, we did this weird 4-4-2 and then did it again. And we lost both of those games. We have no idea what this lineup's going to look like, but we do know that our ball controlling center back, Julio Cascante, is out injured. And our starting right back and our Moon Tower dad's boyfriend, Mikel Dessler, is also out for 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. And so I always hate that, like, with a hamstring.
I do too. That's a pet peeve of mine.
Everyone has hamstrings.
He's got a right elbow. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no shit.
So I think that like a lot of our lineup will look similar to last week, obviously except for Dessler. Maybe we'll sub out Alexander Svatok for Leo Väisänen. But I think the midfield change that I'm really interested in seeing if we get this, one of the players that we're very excited about besides Sabovic is hopefully going to change in for Danny Pereira in the midfield opposite Owen Wolf and with Ilya. And I think that he's like a grown-up human man. And Danny and Owen, we love dearly, but they are both sweet baby angel children who, you know, like can't control the full midfield on their own. Like you can't leave children unsupervised. So
and Ilya is only one dad, right?
He's only one dad.
That's true.
And so
so we're really hopeful.
And he abandons his family sometimes. I want you to know that.
He said he was just going out for cigarettes.
Don't trust him.
He said he was going out to the store, and then I don't know.
He said he had to go pick up Continental tires. And
gotta go pick up some of our tires. We're running low.
Oh God.
So wait, so who is I'm getting a little confused because I'm not so familiar with all these names.
Yeah.
But who is it that you want to see come in the midfield?
Yeah, so I would like to see Basard Sabovic coming
Okay,
in.
that's
Yeah,
right.
And Darren, say that name back for me real quick.
Nope, not gonna do it. People know how to scrub. Just rewind 10 seconds. Come on. She said it right.
Yeah, so Basard Sabovic is a Swedish player. He came from...
Is that how you pronounce his first name?
That's how I pronounce it. I haven't listened to him pronounce it, but now I'm...
To our listeners, you guys are the authorities in the room. So whatever you say is going to work.
Bizarre is his first name?
Beso. Just call him Beso.
Yeah, we just call him
Kiss.
Beso.
You know, like the Spanish for kiss. He's so handsome.
Yes, he is.
But so
Amazing.
Beso came from Djurgården in the Allsvenskan, and he's one of these players that is our sporting director's like bread and butter, underrated but super high floor guys that just like does the stuff right. He had kind of a short preseason, and so he hasn't gotten fully up to speed yet, but we're hoping that as he's able to get integrated into the team, he starts to connect some of that like transition into the attack that we haven't quite had yet.
Yeah. And feeding that to Brandon or Mirto, like we're really, I'm really excited. I can't speak for Mike. I'm really excited to hopefully see him start this weekend.
Look, what a joy of a conversation this has been. If people, that sounded sarcastic. It would,
yeah. I was like,
what an absolute delight
wow.
you people are.
I'm sorry. Let me restart Travis one more time. So sometimes it takes two.
We were having fun. It's past his bedtime. Like
we said 10 minutes. We're at 30, so I just want to wrap it up. But look, you guys are the best. Please come back whenever you want. And again, if people want to find you, how do they find you?
Yeah, Moontower Soccer all across the internet. That's our dad's show, and we're on there as well. They let us participate.
And do you want it? You can dad or like podcast dad?
No, podcast dad.
Okay, cool. I didn't know.
Vince is our podcast dad.
Yeah.
We ask him questions and then he gives us little treats of information.
That's why we're at 30, because he's not here.
Honestly, yes. But genuinely, like, it's such a relief, as I've said multiple times now, to talk to actually charismatic people. So thank you for being here. And if you want to come by call in the live stream after the game if you want to talk shit, whatever, if you want as well. So it'd be good to hear from you. Cool. Thanks so much. And everyone go follow them. Please, please, please. When we come back, we're going to make some bets. And we're back. Now it's time for a segment called Bet It and Forget It.
Bet it and forget it.
Every week we end the show with a bet for this week's game. We make an outlandish prediction, something that almost definitely will not happen, but could. Each week we all put up $5. If no one hits, the money rolls over to the next week. And eventually, by the time someone's weird prediction comes true, they might win a good chunk of change. None of our bets hit last week, so the bet pool for this week is now $45.
I have a bet I'm very confident in, and I want to get it right out of the bat. It's going to happen. I promise you this will happen. Ilie Sanchez own goal.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Ilie Sanchez own goal.
Mine will also be an Ilie Sanchez bet, and it's not one that we'll be happy about. He will score from the spot in the exact spot that he scored for the MLS Cup final victory.
They're going to let him take the PK.
A penalty in the north end. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to
bottom right.
Yeah. So penalty north end and bottom right. Wow. You have a lot of parameters on your staring. Yeah. I'm going to go a little.
Maybe anyone from the spot.
Yeah. No,
that's
north end, bottom right.
It's not. No, it's not this fun.
Okay.
I'm going to go kind of boring, but it could be fun.
It has to be Ilie specific.
Under brace.
Oh, Underbrace.
The
Underbrace.
I heard someone call him the Underturker, which I thought.
Oh, that's funny. There's something with Hugo and Under, like Hugo Under, like what's like a command, Hugo Under, and then we need a third name.
Hugunder.
When I go Ugo, you go Under.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good.
Anything? Is that
New chant.
Get
it. Make it happen.
Ugo Under.
Make it happen.
Well, we shall see. That's our show. Our theme music is done by Nate Walcott, Louis Palmer. and James Valentine. You could follow us over at youtube.com/@happyfootsadfoot. Again, we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by May, so please help us out. Tell your friends and head on over to patreon.com/happyfootsadfoot if you want to help us keep making this show. It's the easiest way to show your support and hang out with us 24/7 in the Discord. And we'll see you at BMO, baby. I love you. Bye.
I love you. Bye.
We literally don't have time for this.
Bye.
Bye.